The Who Would Win of the Week this week is President William Taft versus Jabba the Hutt. Just a couple of fatties slapping stomachs until one gives up. Jabba the Hutt, though he is not a president, he's obviously a very powerful man. Or Hutt. In charge of people. However, let's get this out of the way immediately. Taft, of course, there's the famous story that he was so big that he got stuck in the White House bathtub at least once. Jabba the Hutt, I will say, has really used his fat as like a strength.
Well, I feel like Jabba the Hutt can get slimy too. Like Jabba.
Oh, he's a slimy
he's not
man.
Getting stuck in things. Here's the thing, and this took
lube himself right out of the bathtub.
Me one quick Google search. It
what?
Well,
I'm gonna look up some stats myself. What do you got?
So it says that
whoa.
I don't think he ever actually got stuck in the bathtub. That's what I'm trying to get at.
Mess? Okay, fine. I'm pretty
well,
sure.
it says the story, however, apparently doesn't hold water. No documentary evidence backs it up, and according to Brandy Carlson, author of the book Dead Presidents: An American Adventure into the Strange Death and Surviving Afterlives of Our Nation's Leaders, the story didn't arise until 2 decades after Taft left presidency. Carlson says that the sudsy tale first surfaced along with other presidential dirt in longtime White House usher Ike Hoover's 1934 memoir, 42 Years in the White House. Wait a minute. So we got a guy that was a White House usher saying that that's true, but he also says that the White House did have to get larger bathtubs, but he never got stuck in the previous bathtub.
Damn, nice. Okay.
Yeah.
It's kind of like addressing the problem before it became a problem.
Yes.
That's smart. That's why the guy was president. Now, I've looked up how much did Taft actually weigh. It says between 280 and 325.
That's pretty big.
It's bigger than I thought because I was, people were smaller back then and thinner back then. There was no food, there was no Fruit Loops. People just didn't weigh as much. But Taft, so I was thinking like, he's this big fat guy. They're saying back then, but to them, 150 pounds is fucking huge. But that's a big man, even by today's standards. Now, Jabba the Hutt, 3,000 pounds, approximately. Which is quite a bit more. It's about 10 times more than Taft, if we're doing the math here. But, maybe gravity's different on Tatooine. That could play a factor. Jabba the Hutt, now, again, him being like a criminal, a crime boss type guy, he's not used to getting his hands dirty. Even in Return of the Jedi, when Luke's standing right in front of him saying, hey, you and me, let's go, let's see what's happening. Jabba's like, okay, sure, boom, trapdoor, drops him. Even after he captures Luke, he still is like, okay, Sarlacc pit, boom. Jabba the Hutt, he never does his own dirty work. Taft, no matter what, even though he's the president back then, you got to do more than that. I think he was a boxer. I think Taft was a boxer. Everybody was a boxer back then. That's just life on the streets of colonial. This wasn't colonial, but of America at the time. If you want to be president, you had to be a boxer. That's the way it went. So I think that he is definitely more prepared to be like, hey, let's get in a round of fisticuffs than Jabba the Hutt would be. Although Jabba the Hutt, because he has lived so lavishly, not scared of anything. Huge hubris guy.
Yeah.
Literally, again, even in the movies, does not think that anybody can touch him. He's got a lot of downfalls.
Here's the thing. A couple things. I was looking up some Taft facts. Under Taft's administration, the U.S. bought the first ever, in the world ever military plane from the Wright brothers.
Whoa!
Fun
the
fact.
Wright brothers built a military plane,
And he also designed the Lincoln coin, the penny.
no way.
Taft.
That's hilarious.
Taft created the penny.
That's really funny, actually. Just thinking of him like
Yeah, sketching out.
yeah,
Lincoln.
sketching things down.
Yeah.
But the fact that he was even military minded, which is something that has come to define this country,
Yeah.
that he was so ahead of the game like that. I mean, come on, dude.
Here's the thing, without getting too political. Put my toque on.
And that's hard to do whenever you bring up Jabba the Hutt. Whenever you bring up Jabba, it's going to get political.
Back in the day, as a country, you had to be a powerful individual.
Mm-hmm.
You had to show some real toughness
Yeah.
to
Grit.
be in office.
Chutzpah.
So I have a feeling that Taft was a real nails kind of guy.
Oh, without a doubt. A real rough and tumbler.
Yeah, yeah. Eat the fat right off the T-bone because it's roughage.
Oh, yeah.
That he was gnawing.
Only eats gristle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Gnawing on that gristle.
Although Jabba the Hutt
is gristle.
is gristle. Damn!
Yeah. And there you go, right there. Listen, as a leader of the United States of America, I can tell you right now, I don't know if Taft was a good president or not. Don't know anything about him other than the two things I just named.
Mhm.
But if he was a good president, then I'm taking Taft all day long.
You know,
I don't think he was, though.
I'm sure it was fine, but it's a tough thing. Like, but I really, because Jabba's just like this big crazy alien, I was like, okay, he's got a pretty good shot here. But the more we talk it out, I'm like, I feel like it's Taft all the way because Jabba, the Hutts are like a crime family. Like Jabba the Hutt, we see it in his day-to-day life, but even in his childhood, as far as I know, really grew up with a silver spoon in his mouth or, whatever kind of utensils they used. Taft, times just were harder back then. You just had to, like you said, have a little more grit, have a little more toughness to you. So I think that even against this guy, this
I'm
alien,
way out on Taft.
Oh, no. He's a real puss.
Yeah,
Oh, man.
Pretty much what I'm reading is that he had a challenging task as president, living up to the legacy of Theodore Roosevelt, who came before him.
Yeah, it's a tough one.
But he had very little political experience. He took very little interest in many things. This line even says it was his temperament, moreover, that caused most of his problems as a political leader. He seldom took initiative in legislative matters, and he had very little talent for leadership.
Jesus. So
He tended to ponder at great lengths all sides of a question. In essence, he was not decisive. He sat by quietly, for example, as the Republican-dominated Congress added 847 amendments to his tariff reform package, dashing any hope for real reform.
Jesus.
He typically ate a dozen eggs, a pound of bacon, and mounds of pancakes for breakfast, leaving him feeling sluggish for most of the morning.
So these guys are the same. These guys are the same. Literally everything that I have said about Taft thus far is totally wrong.
Yeah, no. And listen, I love America, but I'm taking Jabba the Hutt.
It's really turned me around. Because at the end of the day, knowing now what we know about Taft being sluggish, Jabba the Hutt being a slug, it's literally what I said at the beginning. It's going to be
Very
two
similar.
bellies going at each other, and nobody out-bellies the Hutt.
Yeah, but Jabba Hutt kind of earned his way through the ranks by being a sketchball.
Not really. He kept power through fear and stuff like that,
Yeah.
which, again, is a lot more than Taft did.
Yeah, apparently.
So,
Doesn't sound like there's a lot of respect out there floating around for Taft, and I am a man of respect, and I respect this country.
Of course.
And I'm taking Jabba the Hutt.
Look at those. Look at those cuffs.
You have cuffs like this.
Those are respect cuffs.
You deserve respect
Amen.
with a cuff like that.
Yeah, I got to go Jabba as well. I think he'd absolutely squash him.
Vote on that on Friday on Instagram. Who would win of the week?